I love these chairs. They're so comfortable.
It's a rough life, but someone's got to live it. Yeah. So what are we talking about now?
Humility. Is that what you wanted to say? Is there irony somewhere?
Well, listen, the collective eye roll from the people that know us best.
I know.
But guys, here's what happened. You want to tell?
No, you tell.
I want to be humble. You should tell.
No. You're
I grew up in a household where we used to put each other down by saying, "Don't be so humble. You're not that great."
No, you give the context.
Okay, thank you. It's an honor and a privilege.
You're much more
I'm
articulate
humble.
than I am.
Here we go. Well, so the other day at breakfast with our youngest, we were sitting there and taking in a commentary on the verse of the day, and it was talking about humbling ourselves to one another. Mm-hmm. The commentator was talking about the Hebrew word, or the multiple Hebrew words for humility, and how most of us tend to, I guess, have a bit of a negative connotation about humility, or think of it in terms of, you know, how we need to be shrinking violets, and there has to be less of us. And obviously, we've got John the Baptist telling us classically, you know, he must increase, I must decrease. And that's you know, to my mind, that's always the model of humility when we use that word that I'm thinking of. Yep. But he went on to say that if you look to the Hebrew word anavah, I think it is, and anavah, which is a related word, there's much more the context of taking up the space that God has given you to take up. Yeah. And we kind of stopped and looked at each other.
What? What an interesting...
Well, not so much what, but more, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's neither denying yourself that space and not overfilling it with yourself. Really interesting concept.
You know, and it's this idea that, you know, we shouldn't be full of ourselves, like you just said.
Right.
But God has given each of us a set of unique gifts, and we need to apply those and use those to the task that's put in front of us.
In addition, he's put us here on the planet for a purpose. And when we choose not to use those gifts to do his work, then we're denying that opportunity that God wants us to use.
So anyway, we just wanted to share that little anecdote with you guys, and would love to hear your feedback on it. But I think, you know, for us, it was an important kind of new way of exploring or thinking about humility. It always reminds me of the Psalm 8, about looking at the night sky and the works of God in the heavens, and what is man that God is mindful of us.
It's a psalm that's come right back into our awareness as the nights are getting warmer and we're sitting out under our amazing southern sky. Yeah,
the other night I shared this awesome picture of the scorpion. Well, I thought it was awesome. I should be more humble. A photograph that I took of the scorpion right over our house, and the stars are are awesome, literally in the best and deepest sense of that overused word.
Especially by me.
But I got something I want you to share with our viewers.
Yeah, it's a Hasidic teaching, which really illustrates the balance that we were talking about before, of taking up our God-given space, but not stepping outside of that. Every person should have 2 pockets. In one pocket should be a piece of paper saying, "I am but dust and ashes." When one is feeling too proud, reach into this pocket and take out this paper and read it. In the other pocket should be a piece of paper saying, "For my sake the world was created." When one is feeling disheartened and lowly, reach into this pocket and take this paper out and read it. We are each the joining of 2 worlds. We are fashioned from clay, but our spirit is the breath of Adonai.
That's gorgeous. I think some days I would be pulling paper out of each pocket.
Well, we can go through a day with both, struggling with both of those emotions.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very wise description of how we need to navigate our emotions between, you know, a place of humility and a place of being able to do what's asked of us.
So guys, join that conversation. We'd love to know your thoughts on this. Is humility all about, you know, a disappearing act for each of us, or is there more layers to it?
Yes.
You know, walking humbly with our God. What does that mean?
Yeah.
That's what the Lord desires, we're told in the Bible, right? And we know, like going back to John the Baptist again, you know, how he said that he wasn't even worthy to tie Christ's sandals, and we should emulate that, obviously, and then in the way that we treat each other, bear that out. And yet at the same time, we have work to do. We can't just disappear. So,
And I find when I'm walking in a spirit of humility, that's when I actually learn the most, because my heart is open to the wisdom of other people, and I'm not just, cruising. So.
and I think, in community, perhaps in a special way, we get opportunities to help each other walk in humility.
Yeah.
I have plenty of people, pitching in to help me out in that way. And I love them dearly for it. I'm starting with you.
You help me, though.
Yeah, of course. No, that's all good. So we're going to wrap up by Norann introducing a book that is we're getting a lot of value out of, and then reading from it.
Well, Chris and I have been making an evening habit out of reading David's Crown by Malcolm Guite, and it's a beautiful cycle of poetry, each a reflection on one of the Psalms, especially during this time of the pandemic when we're all dealing with things like anxiety and uncertainty. This is a great volume to get your hands on. Before the splendor of the resurrection dawns and transforms the world, I'll watch the lights of heaven, each a glory in their station. Harbingers of heaven, keeping nights of watch with us, the moving moon and stars, his handiwork in which he still delights. And I will listen too, open my ears to every creature that still speaks his name, from babes and sucklings to those crowned with years. For wisdom laughs and lives in both. The flame of love is kindled round the world in old and young. I'll seek him too beyond the tame familiar world, out in the wide and wild, as much in the steep seas and mountain heights as in the startling wisdom of a child.
Yeah, wow, the startling wisdom of a child. Well, if that line doesn't wrap up what we're talking about, our need for childlikeness and humility and depth, I don't know what would.
Yeah, perfect.
So how about we leave it there, friends?
Yes. Talk again soon.
Yeah, thanks for being with us.